Dance for the untouchable, true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BC, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to come and give my comments on this upcoming fight next weekend. It'll be back home in sunny South Florida. You know, y'all can save the date. It's going to be a momentous occasion. You know, the prodigal son returns home, back to his boxing home. South Florida, that's Teofimo Lopez. You know, he's a product of the Davy Powell. You know, basically grew up in South Florida, even though I know he was born in Brooklyn. So, good little homecoming fight for him, and he's fighting a guy that, for most of the boxing world, you know, Steve Claggett, Canadian contender, coming to you live and direct from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Not a lot of people know about Steve Claggett, but you know, funny enough, right? The other day, I was talking to someone about this fight, and, you know, I was kind of being like most boxing fans, you know, downplaying Steve Claggett and saying that, you know, he's not that good. You know, Teofimo Lopez is cherry picking, this, that, and the third. And, you know, one thing about boxing is that you can't be downplaying these fighters' journeys, because once I actually started to look at Steve Claggett's actual, like, boxing journey, it's been a long journey for him. You know, I found this video on YouTube where he came here to Vegas, like, in 2010, and he was at Bill Haney's old gym, the Hit Factory, and he was hitting the mitts with Yoel Judah. You know, this for Steve Claggett, you know, he's got 7 losses, but he's been in a good run of form these last couple years. You know, beating some good veteran fighters like Jonathan Ennis, Miguel Madueño, and you know, a couple other guys. You know, he's solid. He's a solid guy. And this title shot for him is a lifetime's worth of work. He's 35 years old. He turned pro in 2008. 16 years a professional fighter. So one thing about it is, while he may not be, he's definitely not as talented as Teofimo Lopez, but he's a competent professional, and he's a legit contender. And I believe he is going to come to fight. There's nothing that suggests, from what I've seen on film and just knowing his background, that suggests that he's not coming to fight. You don't have 16 years as a professional fighter, get a world title shot, and come in and lay down. So on paper, really, it looks like the easiest fight for Teofimo Lopez in his career since he's been a contender, but I don't underestimate the type of desperation and hunger that Steve Claggett could be bringing into the ring that night. But let's talk about the Teo side of things, because, you know, Teofimo Lopez, this is his first time fighting in South Florida. Really, I wish, you know, it's better late than never. So I'm happy it's happening for the kids in South Florida that look up to him, because there's a lot of amateur kids that do look up to Teofimo Lopez in the South Florida boxing community. So it's going to be a big deal for a lot of these kids to finally see Teofimo box live in person. It's going to be great for them. I really wish Top Rank would have built him as a South Florida fighter, because I feel like he would have actually had a chance to really be a ticket seller. But that's neither here nor there. We can't cry over spilled milk. Listen, he's got to take care of business. And while Steve Claggett may be a good, competent, solid professional, while he may be a good little contender, you know, Teofimo Lopez, on his night, on his best days, is a pound-for-pound top 10 fighter. And when you have the talent of a pound-for-pound top 10 fighter, you're supposed to not just beat the Steve Claggetts of the world. You're supposed to blow them out. You're supposed to look sensational. And that's what this is. That's what this is. Top Rank believes that Teofimo Lopez needs a big win, because, like, you look at this fight against Jermaine Ortiz. He's been an up-and-down fighter. You know, one fight looks good, one fight he doesn't look so good. And that's just the truth. And sometimes, you know, like, the truth, when I start telling it about how he's been fighting it recently, it pisses off the Teofimo Lopez camp, because Teofimo Sr. got all mad at me recently when we were in South Florida, and he knows what I'm talking about. But it's just the truth, you know. He did what I thought he couldn't do against Josh Taylor, and he looked great against Josh Taylor. You know, so I've always given Teofimo Lopez extra credit for that win, because that was a win that myself and many people thought that he was not going to get, and he got it and looked sensational. So I want to see Teofimo Lopez find that consistency in his career, because I feel like boxing is a better sport when Teofimo Lopez has it going, right? So he has to look good against Steve Claggett. Claggett's style is that of a come-forward fighter. You know, so this isn't going to be like Sandor Martin or Jermaine Ortiz, where you get guys that circle the ring and sometimes can fight a very negative style. No, this is going to be a fight where Teofimo Lopez could actually show off some of that explosiveness, that athleticism, that you know, those skills that he has. I don't think he's the puncher at 140 that he was at 135. That power hasn't quite carried up the way I thought it would going up to 40. But he's still a good enough puncher, I feel, to stop a guy like Steve Claggett. So we'll see how it goes. And if Teofimo Lopez wins, then you got guys like Liam Paro, who just became champion. Obviously, the big fight with Devin Haney. And then Isaac Cruz holds one of the titles as well. So there's definitely some huge fights out there for Teofimo Lopez. Some people have pegged him as a guy that could give Gervonta Davis problems. And you know what? I'll tell you like this. When Teofimo Lopez is at his best, I'm talking about when he's at his absolute apex best, I feel he's capable of beating any fighter in the world. But with Teofimo Lopez, as we've seen throughout the years, there's been things outside the ring that may have hindered his mindset going into some of these fights, which is why he lost to a guy like George Kambosos Jr., which is looking worse and worse as time goes on. So I think for Teo, he's 26 now. These next couple years of his career, it's all about the mental side, the mental maturity. If he mentally matures himself into a guy that can go in and be a consistently great fighter, then I think he can beat anybody. But you just never know fight by fight what you're going to get with Teo. And he has shown in his career at times that he does struggle with guys that move, i.e. Sandor Martin or Jermaine Ortiz. So this is a fight where I feel he's got to make a statement, a big statement. And people, listen, it's one of those fights where if Teofimo knocks out Steve Claggett, it's just one of those fights for Teo. If he knocks out Steve Claggett in three, 4, 5 rounds, people are gonna say, well, Steve Claggett wasn't that good to begin with. He's cherry picking and he's not gonna get credit for the win. But if Steve Claggett does even so much as have one good moment in this fight, people are gonna say Teofimo Lopez got exposed. He's not that good. So it's one of those. And I think these are the kind of fights where I actually get a little more worried for Teo because he's one of those confidence fighters. He has like an inspirational type of personality. He fights a lot of confidence. So if he really comes out here and actually makes a statement here and knocks out Steve Claggett like in, let's say, 5 or 6 rounds or less, to me, that would actually impress me because Teofimo Lopez has always had letdowns in his career against lesser competition like, you know, Nakatani, Sandor Martin. But when he's fought Josh Taylor Lomachenko, you know, A+ fighters. So it's all about consistency, and I want him to find it and give the South Florida boxing community and the fans a great fight and a great performance, and give those kids that are going to be at the fight something to remember. And we'll see how it goes. But for Steve Claggett, I mean, Steve Claggett is going to have to find a way to hurt Teofimo Lopez and drain his respect and push him back and really just make it a rough and rugged fight for him. And that's the kind of fighter he is. I would call Steve Claggett, if I had to describe his style, I would call him a lunch pail, blue-collar fighter. You know, he's not going to ooh you and ah you with speed or defensive-like maneuvers, but he knows who he is, he fights within himself, and he's not going to deviate from that. So it's up to Teofimo Lopez to just show that, hey, you may have all this training and experience and motivation, but this ain't Rocky, this ain't a movie. I am a pound-for-pound top 10 caliber fighter for a reason, and I'm going to show you come fight night and move on to bigger and better things. But I wish both men the best. Hoping for a good fight down there in South Florida. It's a shame Top Rank couldn't bring it back before I had to move to Vegas, but you know, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. But like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canterbury, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.